Okay folks, our next project is going to be we're going to be using a cone just like we had in the past. And what you see here is Calvin the cat. It used to be Holstein the cat, but he got kind of nailed on the road here at the farm about back in February, and I felt terrible about it. But there was another little kitten born here at the farm, and he looks very similar to Holstein. Then I named him Calvin, and some of you have seen some videos of him. The odd thing about Calvin, he has that little black nose, you know. He's got it white all the way around, and then he's got a black nose in the middle. I didn't quite put the black nose, but this is still like the tuxedo cat, and we'll call him Calvin with the Santa hat, okay? Calvin the cat with the Santa hat. That's what we'll call this project. And I hope you enjoyed the pilgrim, the turkey one for Thanksgiving. I enjoyed doing it. It was a longer process. This might take us a little bit longer than our normal stuff, simply because there's more work to do on it. But somebody asked me, I was thinking about doing this, and a few people have asked me if I would please do a video on it. So we're going to see if we can make something similar to it. Like I always tell people, it may not look exactly the same, but it will look similar, okay? So the first thing we want to do is make the measurements of our piece. And I'm trying to do this is a little bit taller, it's not by much. And it really doesn't matter how big, or as long as you're square here, okay, at the bottom. Let me see which one's more square. Give me just a second here. Okay, we're going to go with that cone there, okay? And that one looks a little uneven. We'll start with it anyway. Okay, so here we go. This one is about a little less than 3.5 inches. The top is about 3/4 of an inch square. 1 1/4 inch square on the bottom. And then what I do is I take it to a bandsaw and I just start from the base and work my way to the center. You can mark it off. I don't. I just eyeball it. But if you are one of those people that have to measure everything, that's fine. You can measure it and then cut it. Alright, so your cone's a little bit more even than mine here. The first thing we're going to do is I need a pencil, you need a sharp knife, a strop, your thumb guard, and your glove. And we'll get started with this project. I always start with the top of the hat for some reason. Now this is about the top here. I'm going to do a little more measuring for you folks. Is about 1/2 inch. Alright, so about 1/2 inch down we are going to take our pencil and we're going to just mark this all the way around. Alright? If it's a little bit uneven, it's alright. It's not a huge deal. Alright? I notice the top's a little bit slanted, but we'll work on it. Okay, the first thing you want to do is you want to take your knife and you just want to start chopping out the corners first. Alright? And it's not too bad of a project. Once you get the system down as far as doing this cat, it's fairly easy. There's a lot of cutting with it. I prefer cats over dogs. Now don't get on me about that. I just was never, we had a dog named Bruno years and years ago, but he was at our other farm when we lived in Jersey, and this is going back in the 70s, folks. And Bruno was kind of our watchdog, and he was a neat dog, but we weren't good at getting these dogs to obey us. And I think we were more, we had cats all the time around the farm. We used to have one in the house all the time. The cats now at the farm, they're outside. We have a nice little hutch for them on the deck that about 5 or 6 of them sleep in at night. Even in the coldest weather, they're fine. If it's really, really super cold, you know, we throw a couple extra blankets, but they're fine outside. Farm cats are used to being, you know, in a barn or in a building of some sort. So we decided to give them a hutch of their own, which worked out really well. And held up with all the storms and the snows and all that, and they all have a nice dry place to sleep. Okay, so that's the first thing you want to do, is you want to cut this out. We're going to go a little deeper and just bring it. You see how I'm using, this is a stop cut that I talk about, you know. A beginner can try this. It's going to be a little bit tougher for you to do, but I think if you follow along, you might be able to make it look similar to what we have there. And you know, I wouldn't discourage a beginner from trying it out. Okay, and now I'm going to round off the top, the corners. Just going to take those off. Everybody does it different. I'm trying to leave this on because there's different things I want to do. I'm going to do something a little different than this one with the tail on the back. I'm going to try to bring the tail up and have it look like it's underneath the cap, but we'll see how that works. That might not work. I have to see how much room I have with it. Okay, so I'm going to round off the top. Some of you have asked about my knife. These knives, these are a Barlow. It's a Barlow knife. It holds nicely in your hand, but there's only one blade that I actually use out of it. The other one I use for everything else. If I'm cutting something here at the farm, you know, I usually carry it with me. So this is what we're doing. We're just rounding off the cap. Alright? And there's going to be an interesting little project for beginners that I came up with today that we'll do after this. So it might be a week or so before I get to that. But, alright, and then we're going to round off the bottom here. We're going to just try to, when I round off things like balls and things like that, things that need to be rounded, I usually try to get this into a dowel shape first, and then round off the top and the corners and all that good stuff. Okay, there's a way of doing it that might look a little even than just hacking from one side to the next. But anyway, this cat project, I think people really like the look of this cat, and we're gonna just see if we can duplicate that, or at least have it look similar. Alright, there's going to be a lot more off of this, but this gives us a general idea. We'll fuss with the hat later. Okay, we're going to find out where we're going to pick a corner here, and I think we'll pick, let me see how this is sitting. Let's pick this corner here. This is out of a corner, okay? You see it's the block. Here's the block. The block is this way. Alright. And we're going to do the feet and everything, and I wasn't sure if I could do it out of the corner. And so here we go. We're going to figure out the top part of the hat. So we're going to just go down here and we're just going to notch this out. Alright. And then we got to go down here and find out where we want to do it, just like with the penguin. Okay. I'm going to make a little bit of a turn on it. Alright. And I'm going to come back here. Instead of going all the way down, I'm going to let the tail come up like so. Alright? This is going to be a little bit different. I like to see how this is going to work out. Alright, so this is going to be the tail. Alright? Alright? I'm sorry if I'm out of range here. I don't mean to be. Okay, so what we have is we have the hat going around. We've got the tail, and we're going to come up here, continue with the hat coming down. Alright, try to make that hat match like it's resting right in between where the tail rises. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut out this. This is going to be a little different than the one we're doing, and then the one I just did, because I have the tail draped around to the side. But you can do it that way. You can just take this all the way down and put your notch at the bottom. Okay, I'll be right back, folks. I'm running out of tape. Alright?